And then the third is health. Building teams that work together well, they are cohesive, function.
Radio show, man, they everywhere.
All right, y'all. We're tuned in for another episode of Banked Out Radio Show. I am your host, Andres, and I have via Zoom with another podcast match interview, which I've been loving, by the way. We have Scott Goodrich, who is an entrepreneur as well. So Scott's background includes, just like all entrepreneurs, we go through this trial and error. So Scott has the entrepreneurial operating system, which has helped thousands of business owners get a grip on their business, break through the ceiling, and deliver results and have more fulfilling lives for the people who run them. So, Scott, I think that is a wonderful thing that you're doing, because I think that's overlooked with, when it comes to, business and operations, and with the statistics being that, most businesses are like either the owner or, have very few employees. And like, I think the last time I looked, it was like 27 million just in the United States alone. So you run into a lot where it's hard running the business and being efficient in that business and being able to like balance and have, like you said, a healthy life, have, traction, have vision. So let's get started. I know you have a sales background and things of that nature. When you was going through your 9 to 5 and really wanting to cross over into being your own entrepreneur, you and your wife, what was the pivotal moment that you had where it wanted to rush you into, entrepreneurship?
Sure. It's an interesting question. I also host a podcast, and I asked this to some of my guests who are entrepreneurs as well. And, do you think that being an entrepreneur is something that you're born with or something that you can develop? Right? Is it a nature or a nurture? And I think the jury's out. Now, the gentleman who wrote the book Traction, which is what EOS is based on, EOS is the Entrepreneurial Operating System. His name is Gino Wickman, kind of a guru in the entrepreneurial space. And he would tell you that entrepreneurs are born, always born, not made, just because of what it takes, the sort of the intestinal fortitude of what it takes to be an entrepreneur. And that flame can diminish at times and then turn back up. But he would say that it's in you, and that you just have it because you're willing to do what it takes, and also live with the down times, the tough times, right? On the way to the good times, because it's every entrepreneurial journey is, up and down, hit a ceiling, stop, fall backwards, go back up, dust yourself off, pick your favorite analogy, right? That's every journey. Doesn't matter if you're doing it solo, you're building a company that's going to have 10 employees, it'll be 100 employees, or heck, even Apple when it started, right? The journey is the same. It's up and down until it goes. And even then you have some challenges. They will just be at a higher level and you'll be dealing with some different things, but challenges are challenges, and they're always present. So if you subscribe to that theory, I've been an entrepreneur since I was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, right. I mean, I'm an older guy, right? I did a paper route back in the day, so I would deliver the papers. People don't even read newspapers now. I used to deliver them. So you build a paper route, you got to go do the collections, and you got to watch your budget, right? So paper route, I used to mow lawns in my neighborhood and hired my buddies to work for me, and took a little money off the top. We created a little business, had a little fun. So we did that. So yeah, I had that in there, and when I graduated from school, I went W-2, but it's W-2, right? You're working for somebody, and so I kind of relit that entrepreneurial flame when my wife and I bought a business 7 years ago, and we've been running that one since. So that was probably my comeback into that entrepreneur world after leaving it for a little while and working for others. Although many with entrepreneurial spirit, right? So that the spirit within the company's there. It was just their vision that I was executing on for them, as opposed to it being my own.
So tell us a little bit, what is EOS, and how does EOS help business owners get a grip on their business?
Sure. So as I mentioned, EOS really based on the work of Gino Wickman and his book Traction. Gino, lifelong entrepreneur, and started a number of businesses. Actually, went in and worked in his own family business and really kind of figured out what it takes to run a really good entrepreneurial company.
Mm-hmm.
And talked to a bunch of other folks, talked to some other business owners, and cobbled together these ideas that became EOS. EOS helps businesses do three things really well.
Mm-hmm.
The first is to clarify and simplify the vision. What is it that you're doing? Why are you doing it? And does everyone understand where you're going and how you're going to get there? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so critical. Like, you've got to have that out there. So vision. The second is really traction, understanding what you need to do to execute with discipline and accountability to get to that vision. Really hard thing to do. And Andreas, I would just say that this is the thing that I run into the most with entrepreneurs. They have great ideas, big ideas, big plans, but the execution is where things get sideways. So execution, when you say the word traction. And then the third is health. Building teams that work together well. They are cohesive, function well together. They like one another. So building healthy teams. So vision, traction, and healthy, three critical components of everything that we do with our clients. And we just help introduce skills, technique, tools to deliver on those three things for any entrepreneurial organization.
So in doing that, when you first started and you were getting it going, what was the reception to, potential clients and clients? Were they receiving that information well, or, were they still stuck in their own ways? Because, I know a lot of entrepreneurs, let's say they've been doing it for like 5-10 years or so. So they get into that, I've been doing this for,
Yeah. So Gino and others have probably been doing this for 15 years. There's 700 coaches like me that do this. So it's an international company. Mm-hmm. We've got companies running on EOS. That's the phrase that we use, right? You run your business on this system, not software, but you run your business on this system. I would say this to you, Andreas, the thing that we do before we ever start working with our clients is we actually sit down with them and talk with them for 90 minutes to learn about their business and to give them a taste of what EOS would sound like, look like, and be like in their business. And we're doing two things there. One, we need to find out, is EOS right for you? Because if you are someone who thinks you do have the answers or are comfortable where you are, it's probably not right for you. And that's okay. I mean, that's what it is. Our clients, they are in a situation where they are feeling some frustration. They've hit a ceiling, like we talked about a little bit earlier, and they don't know what to do next. They've lost control of the company, or in the way that they thought they would be on top of it. Frankly, they're feeling some pain, some way, shape, or form. And it's those that realize that keep doing the same thing without any help, it's going to just continue to be the same pain, whether it's on the business side, but also to be personally. Like, they're just investing their heart and their soul into this thing they built. And they're not getting out of it what they expect. It's consumed them. And so by bringing in this discipline, introducing some really simple tools, but teaching how these can work to help you get your arms around it, can actually free up that entrepreneur in a way that he or she may not have felt in a long time, because they just feel like I got to do everything all the time. But that real pain has got to be there. So there's a lot of folks that we talk to where EOS is just not right. We'll step away. We'll just say, look, you're not ready for this yet, which is totally cool. When you're feeling more pain, we'll come back and chat. But if you're the school, like, I got it, then that's good with us. You got it. You don't need us, and that's cool too. So we step away.
I definitely understand that. To see where that is, but I love the fact that y'all have that like filtration system where you said you talk to something and you really see if it's the right fit.
It's like a matchmaking system, right? We want to find out, like, did I like EOS? Do they even like the coach they're talking to? I mean, it's a pretty intimate engagement that we have. Like, we're really gonna figure out what's going on in that business and ask those tough questions, and ask you to ask the tough questions of yourself. Like, am I ready to answer those tough questions, right? And so you need to be comfortable with one another, that we're good to go through that and build a lot of trust and make that happen. So that 90-minute meeting is a true matchmaking. Like, do you like one another, right? Do you want to go forward? That kind of thing.
I can imagine like what it was sort of like a sales closing rate and everything. You probably have a whole lot of people you go through or business owners before you really land the ones that are a good fit. So it's just like
Yeah,
process that you have to go through with
absolutely.
anything.
Yeah. It's like anything, right? Not everyone is your client. EOS is not right for everybody. And frankly, we really don't ever want to talk someone into it. One way to look at it is if you decide to implement EOS in your business and really run your business using these tools, we
Mhm.
like to say that this is done for your company and for your employees, not to your company and to your employees. This is
Mhm.
going to have long-term benefits, build a company that runs really well, increases in value because it's going to be running. Here's the other thing we find quite a bit is these entrepreneurs that pour their heart and soul into the company, and then they want to sell it. It's not
Mhm.
valued as high because the success is based on all that effort that the individual, the owner's putting into it, even if they have a bunch
Mhm.
of employees.
Mhm.
And someone looking to come invest in the business is going to say, well, if you're not here, is this going to work?
Yeah.
Because it's all about you.
Yeah.
And you're great, but it's around you. So we actually want to be able to build a business that can succeed and thrive without the owner doing all that.
Mhm.
That gives the owner that freedom back and makes the company stronger. It actually increases its value. Tons and tons of stories and examples where the company's value is increased after running on EOS for a while because an investor says, you've got a really well-run business here.
Yeah.
This business has got staying power no matter who owns it. That's the sweet spot for a company looking to sell.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree with that. So, how do y'all get business owners to realize his or her unique ability?
Yeah, it's interesting. So one of the toughest things to do with someone who's created a business, right? It's his or her baby, like it's their thing, and they've got all this energy into it, is
Mhm.
to realize the things that you really like to do and that you're really good at.
Mhm.
And so we actually have a tool that we utilize to help everyone in the company, but we start with the owner and the leaders to understand what should they delegate, what work should come off their plate so that they can elevate their thinking and spend their time on the right things.
Mhm.
So our tool is called Delegate and Elevate. And it's once again, it's simple, but to actually go through and say, what are the things that you spend your time on and where do they fit? Do you like them or not? And are you good at them or not?
Mhm.
Spend the time on the things that you like to do and that you're really good at. And
Mhm.
get rid of all the stuff that you don't like to do and that you're not good at. Because the thing
Mhm.
that we find time and again is the stuff that you don't like to do, someone else really likes to do it.
Yeah.
So I'll take an example just from my own life. I have a podcast. I cannot stand the editing, the social media, the stuff. I just don't like it. I love to talk to people and
I
get
heard you love
stuff.
the talking.
So I like to think that my unique ability, the thing that I like to do and that is I like to spend my time on is to have the interview. Like that's what I want to do. So once it's recorded, I'm like, someone else take the rest of it. Someone else who really likes to edit the sound
Mhm.
and the video and then push it out onto the platforms and let them do that. That's their superpower. My
Mhm.
superpower is elsewhere. And so everyone going through and understanding that, the more that you can do that, the more growth you're going to have. And it
Mhm.
sounds counterintuitive because folks don't want to let go.
Mhm.
And it's also can be pricey, right? You got to pay money to someone to do that. But we find time and again that, and you make that decision to delegate things out, you're going to grow your business faster. There's a great book, strong recommend, called 10x is easier than 2x.
Mhm.
And it is about not thinking about growing your business incrementally, but thinking about what is the stuff you should get rid of. And the suggestion there is that 80% of the stuff you're doing today, Mr. or Mrs. Entrepreneur, you should stop doing.
Yeah.
Get that to somebody else. Focus on the 20% that's really making a difference and elevate to that. And then do that again and again and again. So you're only focused on the things that are moving the company forward and not spending time on the
Mhm.
details. And you trust others to do that.
I definitely
Uh,
agree with that 1000%.
it's hard. Look, it's hard
It
to do because
is.
but it's a game changer when you start to do it. But
Mhm.
it's just getting over that hurdle of doing it, and it's tough. It's like, oh, I mean, I could go through and push the podcast out to all these platforms, but I got other stuff I want to work on. Talk to somebody else, right? So that there's a cost associated with it, but it does free me up to do other things.
So, how long have you had your podcast?
It's only 6 months old, so it's still pretty new.
Okay.
But I,
And you've
yeah,
already gotten to the point where you got a team.
yeah. I mean, I did that from the beginning. So trying to walk the walk, so to speak, right? I talked to my clients about doing this. So I tried to walk the walk in here, and I knew from the beginning, if I'm going to do this, here's what I'm going to do, and here's what I'm not going to do.
Hmm.
And I knew it would never get off the ground if I didn't do it that way. So
Yeah.
from the beginning, I've not done that. It wasn't the right use of my time, and I didn't want to really spend the time to learn and do that. So yeah, from the get go. So I do one show a week. So it's not crazy. But I've hit 25 for 25 so far, so 25 straight weeks, and I've got
Mhm.
myself booked out for the next 2-3 months. So it's in good shape. But I leave that to the experts, and I just record the show.
Well, congratulations on doing that because a lot of people don't even make it past the seventh episode. So
I've seen some of those numbers. It's crazy, isn't it?
exactly, people
It
don't
can be
see the
discouraging.
podcast numbers. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think the magic number really these days, like if you get to 100 episodes or something, it's like single digit percent, like it's top 2-3% of all
mhm.
podcasts. I mean, like that's the magic number. But yeah, you're right. So many people drop at 10 and then 20. Yeah, it can go away
Yeah,
quickly.
because
So
it's a lot of
and
work, and a lot of people don't do it the same way that you've done starting out the gate,
yeah,
where you go ahead and go a team. But that comes with your expertise and experience in what you've done previously, so you know
yeah,
how to go ahead and scale stuff quickly.
you're right. Yeah.
So when you're introducing the EOS system to these different businesses, what seems to be like the industry that is receptive to it a lot, or is it really going across all industries that y'all see?
It's remarkable. Because one of the things we do not do is we don't really spend a ton of time talking with you about whatever service your business is offering or the product. We actually start with the assumption that the market you're in and that the product that you're trying to put into the marketplace or the services that you're offering to fulfill a need, better that than we do.
Mhm.
So we really say that EOS works in any business. So it's industry agnostic.
Mhm.
And I can take it from a nonprofit church through a company that's traded on the stock exchange, like,
Okay.
and runs all the way in between. But yeah, even in my own practice, I have service professionals,
Mhm.
accountants, right? I have roofers, painters, someone who makes cookies. Right. I mean,
Mhm.
it, it's open. I'm talking with a nonprofit who's trying to build a center for adults who need help living. I mean, it really does not matter the type of work that you're in. What matters is what you're doing working, and if it's not, is it painful enough that you want to do something different? That's really the question. That it's really about the mindset of
Mhm.
the owner and the leadership team. Like, what are you
Mhm.
getting from this business? Is it everything you thought it was going to be? And if it's not, what are you going to do differently?
Yeah.
So we call it the psychographic profile, but what
Mhm.
is the company thinking about? What are they feeling that is going on here? And if they're really going to be honest and vulnerable with themselves, are they ready to do something different? So that's why it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And if you name an industry, I can get you several companies that are running on EOS in that industry. We have examples and anything you can imagine.
I love it. That's what's up. So, you said earlier that now EOS is popular in this world wide and is used in all these
Mhm.
different industries and companies.
Yeah.
Has it gotten to the point where y'all have competitors now popping up trying to
Oh yeah,
emulate
for
what you're
sure.
doing?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, look, there's a number of operating systems that are out there. EOS is one of them. Obviously, I believe it's the right one. It really, when I did my research and my understanding and the way that I was always leading operations, it really resonated with me when I was
Mhm.
introduced to it. So it's like I'm reading this book going, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. Right? It's just one of those things that it just clicked.
Yeah.
But certainly there are other operating systems that are out there. We like to say that every business owner needs three things in order to
Mhm.
really run a successful business. The first is you need to have some coach of some mentor, some coach, but someone you can turn to when things are tough. So have a coach. The second is have a peer group, join a group. Sometimes your chamber of commerce has free peer groups, or you can pay to join. There's a bunch of entrepreneurial peer group.
Mhm.
So be in a peer group. And
Mhm.
third, have a system to run your business on and stick with that system. Just one though, right?
Mhm.
Don't choose and dabble from others. But there are others. I don't want to give too much credit to the competition, but there are others that may work for you better. Like you might read a book and say, I'm going to use that system, right?
Mhm.
They're outlined in that. But have a coach, have a peer group, and have an operating system that you stick to.
Mhm.
Don't mash them together because that won't work well. But have them be disciplined to staying with it. We do see a lot of entrepreneurs that try a bunch of different things, and they'll take a little bit from EOS and take a little bit from system B and something else from
Mhm.
system C. That's tough. Um, to me, the beauty of EOS is it all fits together really, really nicely. It's really simple, and it's about building consistency, repetition, and getting really good at doing a few things really well. And
Mhm.
that's where companies really start to get traction. You don't need to do a ton of things. Just do these few things really well over and over again. That's going to give you a business that can start really really rolling on
Mhm.
itself and doesn't rely so much on the talents of the person that founded the business.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, like, people pay for your specialty. They don't pay you for, be average in everything. Why I
Right.
want people that's average in everything.
Exactly.
You can get that in spades.
Yeah. Delegate and elevate, right? Get your superpower. Figure out what it is that you do better and differently than everybody else and spend your time on that. Right?
Right?
That's hard to do
Uh-huh.
because it's hard to trust others. I get the challenges that are out there. I don't want to diminish them. But the folks that businesses grow, this is the kind of stuff they're doing, right? It's every time it's tried, it works.
Hmm.
It's just about getting yourself to really trust that and to coin a phrase, trust the process, right? But to really move through the process in the right way.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely get that. So what's been the most impactful lesson you have learned in running your own business?
So typically, most of the challenges come down to people.
Hmm.
We found about 60 to 70% of the time it's people, so in our business, um, one of the things that we did early on that was a true lesson learned was so my wife and I own a haircut and color business. I'm a bald guy for those that can see or not see, so it's ironic that I have a haircut and color business. I don't even use my own services, but it is a licensed profession, and so we were new, so we were just like, oh, you're licensed, come work for us, right? So we were not really holding true to the values that we had as we were trying to build out our business
Hmm.
and what was required of someone coming in and working in our shop. So
Hmm.
to use EOS framework, you've got to have the right people, which means they are aligned with your core values. They
Hmm.
fit the culture you're trying to create like a glove. So
Hmm.
right people. And
Hmm.
then we use a term called right seat. We borrowed it from Jim Collins. So right people, right seat. Right seat means they actually know how to do the work and they can do everything that's required.
Yeah.
So in our business, you have to be able to do a skin fade. You got to be able to cut long hair, male and female long hair, and you got to be able to do coloring because
Hmm.
every one of our people does all those things. That's
Hmm.
the requirement. So you got to align with our core values and you got to be able to do those three things. And at the beginning, we didn't do that.
Yeah.
We were compromising our hiring just to have people do the work.
Yeah.
And when we stopped doing that, Andreas, and started to say, you're right for our culture, you're aligned with it, you're not, you fit the role, you don't,
Hmm.
we elevated our business substantially
Yeah.
because we did not compromise on the hiring. And then
Hmm.
when someone fell below that bar that we had set, we made a change.
Hmm.
Because if someone is not aligned with your core values, my guess is they're not having any fun either. Like
Hmm.
if the company has a different set of core values than you do personally, you're going to feel like a duck out of water, right? You're going to be
Yeah.
like, well,
Like
this doesn't work for me.
oil and water, malt mix, or oil and vinegar, whatever it
Exactly.
is.
Yeah. You're
Same.
like,
Yeah.
I don't want to go to work every day because I don't
Uh-huh.
like what he or she stands for. And that doesn't, so be really clear about that. And so now when we hire someone, we actually sit down and say, this is what we're about. These three core values, this is what we are going to live to every day. And when you stop living to those, we're going to have a conversation. And if that's not right for you, you should select not to work here. You're going to be happier not being here. So using that as a filter, core values, and then using that job requirement, the real specifics of the job requirement, the right seat, game changer for our business. And we are much clearer now with who we should bring on board, what's expected of them, and all the people that work for us are much clearer about it as well. And every conversation now, we just use that same language, and there's no mystery, right? We it's the same. We actually have a one pager that we share with them and say, here's where this is working, here's where it's not. Are we going to change, or are we going to make a change, right? Right, because we want to live with it anymore. And so that's been a game changer for us.
This is up. So, last question, and also I want to plug your info and all that where people can get to you if they need to and things of the nature.
Sure.
New business owners starting out, fresh startups.
Yep.
What would be like 2 important things that you tell them to focus on first starting
out? Stay curious, and read, or if you're an audible person, listen, digest information to see what really is going to work for you. You may read something or listen to something that really hits home and want to do more of that, and similarly make the same experience and say, nope, that's not for me. But staying curious and learning through that. And there's a lot to offer out there, a lot to figure out what works for you, but continue to stay curious. I try to read a book a week just on something different. And there's obviously tons out there. I can recommend a few, but, and I'll read something and say, oh, that's me. Okay, I'm going to do more of that. Then I'll read something like, that's really not who I am. So I'm not going to do as much of what's being recommended there. And you really start to hone down what it is that you want to spend your time care about. So absolutely stay curious. And I'll just be, just be a little selfish here. I would strongly encourage anyone to read the book Traction by Gino Wickman. For anyone that wants to reach out to me, I will get you a free copy of the book. So offer to anyone that's listening that has an interest in it. But read that book. It lays out very simply how to run your entrepreneurial enterprise. And even if you're just getting started, put the right things in place from the beginning. That's going to allow you to grow and scale over the course of time as you're ready, but you'll be doing it the right way from the start and not just winging it. And that's what we're talking about here. Just be intentional and execute, and don't wing it. And that's going to allow you to get where you want to get to. So a strong recommendation there. And like I said, I'm happy to provide anyone a copy of it if they're interested. The book Traction by Gino Wickman.
God, I definitely appreciate that, and I'm going to advocate for everyone to do that and follow up on that. Let people know, how can they reach out to you if they want to talk to you more, I guess coached by you and all the other different things you'll be able to provide for folks. Sure.
Yeah, a couple of this. So I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. So it's Scott Goodrich EOS. You can find me on LinkedIn. So happy to connect with anyone there, and try to put some stuff out there, and you'll see all sorts of different EOS stuff come flying out there, a couple podcasts, but just put things to learn and share. Can certainly email me. It's Scott with 2 T's .Goodrich, like the tires, at EOSworldwide.com. And if you do email me there, I'll just need your information. I will shoot you out a copy of the book as well. Or you can check out my podcast, which is called Grow Your Damn Business.
Which I love that. I love it. I saw it. I love it.
Sometimes it's grow your damn business, and sometimes it's like grow your damn business, right? Just depends where you want to emphasize on it, because sometimes, it's your damn business. It's like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. And it's kind of something hanging around my neck. So totally understand it. And how can we make it, something more that you can emphasize the grow and not the damn part of that. So that's the reason for the way that's mapped out there. But you can check out the podcast. I'm talking to entrepreneurs. Like we're telling stories of overnight success stories that take 9 years to happen.
Exactly. That's a whole nother episode,
that's a whole nother thing, right? Overnight success stories that take a long time to have happen, and every business is going through that. So even if you're just started, keep fighting, keep pushing through those ceilings. I got to remind myself that as well. Growing a couple businesses that I am right now, and I look back at my other one. It took us 3+ years to actually figure out what the heck we were doing. Once we did, we got it going. But you got to have the intestinal fortitude to fight through it, because there's going to be moments of doubt, and that's why I say be curious, keep learning, see what speaks to you. Right. Use those resources.
Well, Scott, I definitely appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Enjoyed it.
But I was glad you enjoyed it. I've been doing this since 2016, so I don't know if you could tell.
That's awesome, man. You got it rolling. That's, I envy that. That's staying power. You're well past that mark
Yeah,
of folks falling off. So good for you.
thank you. I appreciate that. Definitely love to stay in touch and just hear about even more future success stories. So everybody out there, y'all make sure y'all go follow Scott and hit him up. I'll have all his information in the video. And thank you, Scott. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Great doing. Enjoy your weekend.